Most people think that E-Stim is only for recuperation, regeneration, and recovery, and something that's only used by physical therapists. But E-Stim has been used to augment training for years. There has been Olympic athletes and elite level athletes that keep this a secret because it really is one of the most unknown ways of training that yield the best results. In fact, research shows that using EMS with basic training methods can increase your training potential nearly 30% more than basic workouts by themselves. So we're gonna focus today on how to gain strength in that upper body. But because there's so many muscles in the upper body, we're gonna pick two today. We're gonna focus on the lats and we're gonna focus on the biceps. So to focus on the lats, which is primarily a pulling muscle, we'll go ahead and take the pod of the Powerdot and put it on the lower part of the lat. The other two electrodes we'll go ahead and put towards the middle of your spine. One right above the other, leaving a little distance or a little gap between them, running parallel to your spine. This will create a sideways triangle that will capture that part of that lat. We'll use the resistance training program in Powerdot because it's the smartest way to involve the most amount of muscle fiber recruitment that can augment our normal training. We'll talk about three different modes of training, one for beginner, one for intermediate, and one for advanced. So when thinking about the demands of our lift and strengthening that back, we have this system set up on our back and our lats. A beginner is gonna run the resistance training program and leave it there for 6 to 8 weeks, right? Running one session, giving a day or two of rest, running that session again for 6 to 8 weeks. After that adaptation phase has been met, it's time to get into something a little bit more dynamic. This is the intermediate play. We're gonna keep the Powerdot in the exact same place on that lat. We're gonna run the resistance training program, and we're gonna give ourselves 1 to 2 days in between. But this time, what makes it different from beginner is that we're going dynamic. So we're going to do some sort of pulling motion. The pulling motion that I'm suggesting is a bent over row using a PVC pipe, which is essentially a weightless implement. After an adaptation phase of about 6 to 8 weeks, again, we're gonna move on to the advanced version. The advanced version now is actually adding loaded movements to this pulling motion. Same resistance training program, same pad placement, and now we're adding weight to our upper body range of motion. Now this is the important part because this is where you're gonna see that supra-maximal loading. The all-in-one muscle fiber recruitment because of the weight training plus the electrical stimulation. That's how we get these supra-maximal demands and this increased muscle fiber recruitment and crazy results. Now here's my caution to you. Don't jump right into the advanced, even though it sounds so exciting. You have to start with your beginner, go to your intermediate, and then go to your advanced. The second muscle group that we've identified as being a primary lifter for upper body is your biceps. The pad placement for the bicep is really simple. Take the pod, attach it at the upper part of your bicep. Take the electrodes, put them at the lower part of your bicep on the medial and lateral side. This will make a triangle that is the length and the width of your bicep. Now that your pads are in place, you're ready to go. You're gonna run the resistance training program because that's the program that's identified for maximal strength gains. You'll run this program with 1 to 2 days in between, no matter where you belong, whether it's a beginner level, an intermediate level, or an advanced level. The beginner level is simply placing the pads on your bicep and running the resistance training program statically. After 6 to 8 weeks, you'll meet this adaptation phase gate and you'll be ready for the intermediate version. The intermediate version has the same pad placement, but now you'll get dynamic with your movements and you'll begin doing a bicep curl. You'll do this dynamic bicep curl for 6 to 8 weeks, again with 1 to 2 days rest in between, and then you'll arrive at, after the second adaptation phase, at the adaptation phase gate number 3, where you're now ready for the advanced version. The advanced version is a loaded movement version. This is where you're gonna start experiencing growth and strength because of the submaximal loading that you're about to place on your bicep. Using the Powerdot in the resistance program as part of your upper body bicep training program.